No One Will Save You is a sci-fi thriller by writer-director Brian Duffield, starring Kaitlyn Dever and essentially no one else. There's a handful of other cast members, but really the majority of the screen time is focused on Dever's character, Bryn. As it turns out, Bryn is a social pariah, an outcast exiled to her quaint country home, a sentence which she mostly seems to have embraced, though it's clear there's still some sort of a longing for a human connection. The impression is given early on that Bryn lives in a fairly remote location, not so far that she can't bicycle to town, but far enough that help would not be readily available even in the best of circumstances. The story focuses on this fact primarily as our anxiety-riddled main character is beset upon by aliens. An encounter of the third kind, you might say.
This means something. This is important.
In this, I feel the filmmakers did a particularly good job of showing the transition in Bryn's character from terrified and reluctant victim to sly escapee opting to sidestep confrontation, to finally an enough's enough final girl with a hardened resolve ready to take the offensive and fight back. And this transition I felt was masterfully crafted by a combination of Duffield's writing and Dever's performance. There are real hard shifts between these aspects, but rather an incremental evolution with each phase showing hints and glimpses of the next phase, so you get a nice flow of character growth without it being jarring. But Duffield and Dever's collaboration goes farther than that, creating an immersive and compelling experience without dialogue for the most part, through well-framed scenes and emotive acting by Dever. And all this was done while also dedicating some serious screen time to our antagonists, the aliens. Typically, these kinds of films keep the threat shrouded in shadow, but No One Will Save You comes busting out of the gates with the aliens, choosing not to obscure them until the climax, but instead bringing them to the forefront early on. Heck, the aliens might even get more screen time than the supporting human cast. Now, I haven't done the appropriate legwork to verify if that's true or not, but I will say there are a lot of aliens in this movie, which I found very enjoyable. I also felt like it kept the story fresh and focused on the protagonist. Instead of wondering when I was going to get the next glimpse of an alien, I was able to really invest myself in Bryn's character and her journey, which I think made for a lot better storytelling. Now, all that being said, there were some aspects of the film that I didn't really care for, though they were few and reserved primarily for the end of the movie, so I'm not going to spoil them. Rather, I will say that my first peeve centered around how Bryn's exile from the community came about, and the second one focused more on the ending of the film itself. As far as Bryn's exile goes on the whole, I thought the film did a fantastic job of doling out little bits of insight into Bryn's past, her friendship with Maud, and how that resulted in the whole town hating her. These morsels of information were delivered sparingly, but they were enough that you could put a picture together. Then at the end of the film, they just kind of dumped them all out in one big hodgepodge of a montage. It didn't ruin the film by any stretch, it was just sort of jarring for me. Like if you were into a really interesting scavenger hunt, and then halfway through, when everyone realized there was only 15 minutes left, they just dumped all the rest of the clues out in an arrow pointing towards the final payoff. The irony is that there wasn't really anything lackluster in how it was done per se. It was just more that the lead up to it was so well crafted by doling out little pieces of information to let you fit them together, that when it was just sort of an info dump at the end, it just really threw me off and overshadowed all the previous work they had done. Finally, and this may be stupidity on my part, but I have to admit that I was more than a little miffed by the end of the film. Let me be clear here, and I won't spoil this either because there are a lot of folks that really like the ending, but I was left a little confused initially, though I will say it certainly made me think. But like with the info dump of the secondary storyline, it left me a little off balance, although maybe that's what the filmmakers were going for, or maybe I'm just a dum-dum and missed something. Overall, I will say that No One Will Save You is a wonderfully made film and definitely worthy of the high marks it received from critics and the praise lavished on it by master of horror himself, Stephen King. I really like this film overall, and I really think you should give it a watch. Speaking of watching, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my review of No One Will Save You. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you'll get a heads up when I release new videos. If you hated this video, then what you want to do is click the like button 3 times to activate the secret YouTube destruct sequence, and then subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll be notified when my channel is deleted by YouTube. In the meantime, if you enjoy fun movie trivia and 60-second sound bites, then you want to click this playlist over on your right. And if you want to see what the robot overlords of YouTube think you will like, then you can check out this video on your left. Either way, thanks again for watching, and until next time, have a good one.